All right, so let's listen to it real quick. All right, so that sounds pretty fire to me. It does sound old, sound vintage, and kind of messed up and everything like that. It sounds like it possibly could have been like an actual record. Ooh, real quick before we get into the video, I just want you to drop a like and a comment. I'm sharing some sauce with y'all, so I mean, the least y'all can do is just hook me up with a like. You feel me? Let's go. What's up? My name is Devin. I also go by Infinite or Prop by Infinite. Today, I'm gonna show y'all how to make Detroit samples from scratch. Let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up Analog Lab 5, and you want to get yourself a old sounding piano. This is the one that I chose for today, the piano bar simple. You know what I mean? This is what it sounds like by itself. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy. But then I'm going to put it onto this mixer channel 5. And on 5, you know what I mean? We got the, you know what I mean? My own little mixer preset that I made. It's called Vintage Sauce. You know what I mean? So it just got the RC20 on it. Has some isotope vinyl. Has an EQ. And then has another EQ. You know what I mean? And then these are just things that you kind of like mess around with afterwards. So I'm actually only going to keep on the first two, and then the second two we can kind of play around with a little bit later. So now with the RC20 and the isotope vinyl, feel free to copy these settings, by the way. This is what the piano sounds like. You mean that? So that's what we're rocking with right now. Now I'm gonna go into my Slap City Melody MIDI kit, which, you know what I mean, it just dropped. By the time you're watching this video, it just dropped. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We can just give a little preview. 30 melodies, 10 synth lead melodies. Okay. 3 counter melodies and accents. Some clap patterns to spice up your drums. Chords. Okay. Chord progressions. Okay, and then bass lines too. You feel me? So if you guys are looking for like melody MIDI kits that are specified more towards West Coast Bay Area sound, definitely check the link in my bio. Mess with the kit. We're actually going to be using one of the files for this loop today. So the one I'm going to use is... Where is it? It's called I Low-Key Snapped on this one. There you go. It's right here. Because that's how I was feeling when I made this one. I was like, yo, I low-key snapped when I did this, bro. And I'm actually going to give this one out for free to y'all. You know what I mean? Because every time I drop a kit, I always give out a couple of the ones for free. So I'll give this one out for the free ski. You feel me? So this is what it sounds like so far with the piano and the effects that we put on. All right, so it sounds really good to me. The only thing is that like that first part sounds kind of low. You know what I mean? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because when we make this sample, what we're going to do later on is we're going to speed it up, pitch it up too. So if something is kind of low like this, it's completely fine. So now I'm just going to take a couple other sounds and layer it on top. So I got this string right here, and we're just going to layer that on top. Strings are super crucial when you're trying to make samples from scratch, because a lot of those old time songs that people did sample have strings in them. So you always want to try to like add the elements of what the original samples had. So let's switch to the F sharp minor scale, because that's what the original MIDI is in. And we're just going to lay some strings in here as well. Nothing too crazy, just some kind of simple. And once again, this feels kind of slow too, but it's low-key a good thing that it's slow, because we're going to speed it up, pitch it up later on. Gonna randomize the velocities. Alright, cool. So we actually have these strings right here running through the same vintage sauce preset that we have right here for the mixer channel. So all the effects that are on the pianos are on the string as well. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a bass. This is crucial because, like, once again, all these old time songs had like actual people playing the bass and everything like that. So when you're trying to make these samples from scratch, you have to make sure you try to incorporate as many elements as those original samples had. So I'm just going to go down to the root notes. We're just going to make a little pattern. Maybe something like this right here. You know what? It doesn't have to be anything crazy because it's mostly going to get masked out when we start doing the sampling and everything like that. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy like that. I like adding a couple extra bounces just to keep it kind of like unique, because sometimes people just do like the actual root note and they just copy the MIDI. And I mean, that's cool, but sometimes it just adds a little bit more character when you make it a little bit different from the actual chord progression. And then once again, we're running that through the same effects. It's going to be same for all the other sounds that we add too. Now we got a pad. This is just really to fill out frequencies. It's not necessarily for what songs used to use back in the day and recreating them and everything like that. This is just to add like a little bit of flavor. You know what I mean? A little bit more frequencies. Okay, so I like how that sounds. I just want to turn it down. Just make it a little bit more subtle. I like that right there. Alright, so now what I did was I took all the original MIDI that we have from the piano, copied it into this instance of SRX World, which has like this little pluck thing on it, and I just put it on here just to add like a little bit extra texture. So when like the keys are going through, it has like a little bit more impact and everything like that. This wasn't really necessary. It was just kind of like to spice it up, you know what I mean? So this is just the original MIDI, but I just took out like a whole bunch of the notes, you know what I mean? This is just to create more impact and more layers and everything. All right, and then the last thing that we're gonna add for today is a flute. And there's no real reason behind this. I just like flutes. You feel me? So we're gonna run it through that same mixer channel just so we get all the same effects on it. I'm actually gonna turn down the strings. I don't want them to overpower everything. I'm just gonna try to figure out like a pattern, or maybe just even like a small layer on it. That, but just maybe like a more pitched up version. And when you're doing this style, you really want to make sure you're going with like more orchestral sounds, you know what I mean? So I like where this is sitting so far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it, export it, and then we're going to try to do like some samplings type techniques to it. So I'm going to go to the master channel, hit that little red button right there, then hit Option R if you're on Mac, or Alt R if you're on Windows. I'm going to render this out real quick. Now what we're gonna do is like the secret little trick, you know what I mean? You might have seen it on YouTube before. I'm definitely not the first person who's done it, but what you could do is lower the sample rate for it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open it up in Edison. Then you're gonna click on this button right here. You're gonna right click it. You're going to hit resample and tempo sync, and then you're gonna change this number right here. So the lower you go, the lower quality is going to be. And we're going to do 20,000 because that's roughly half of what the original sample rate was. And we're just going to test that out real quick. As you can see, it changed right there. And you know what? I feel like it could be like more degraded. So I'm going to bring it down to maybe like 10,000. And always just make sure you have these two buttons highlighted when you do it. If not, it's gonna like mess everything up. All right, so let's listen to it real quick. Alright, so that sounds pretty fire to me. It does sound old, sounds vintage and kind of messed up and everything like that. It sounds like it possibly could have been like an actual record. So we're going to take that, drag it into the project, and now this is going to be the new file that we're going to work with. So we're just going to delete that original one. And now we're going to mess around with this. We're going to stretch it so it's stretched to 8 bars. And we're going to leave this resample mode on. So now when we stretch it, it's actually going to like pitch up when we go up. And when we slow it down, it's going to get like lower. You know what I mean? So let's mess around with it real quick. Alright, bet. So I kind of like where it sounds at 105. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually bounce this out one more time. And we're doing this because we want to save the original tempo information at 105. Because if we try to drop it into like Fruity Slicer, it's going to try to work with it at the 90 BPM that we originally had. So you always have to make sure you rebounce it out so that the new information is 105 BPM. So now that we have Fruity Slicer open, we're going to take that sample that we just exported again, the 105 BPM one. Maybe we should change the name of it, just so we don't get confused. So we're going to take that one, we're going to drag it over into the Fruity Slicer, assign it to a mixer channel, and we're actually going to make a whole new channel just so we don't have everything else cluttered inside of it. So now that we have it inside Fruity Slicer, we're going to hit this button right here, and we're going to change it to beat. So now it has the slices on every single beat. So if you go over to a piano, every key that you play will play a different part of the sample we just made. And if you want to get like real like crazy with it and real freaky with it and everything, you can click on a specific part of the sample and reverse it. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna lie, that sounds kind of crazy. And then you can also mess with the pitch right here. Let's try 400 cents. Oh, we can do something like that right there, low key. So you just delete all this real quick. Oh, hold up. I think I might just did something. Alright, cool. And then you can just kind of mess around with it however you want. You can just like literally just plug in like random stuff. Like you can literally just play like random stuff and it'll probably sound good. I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, I literally just did this randomly. I did not listen to anything. We're just going to see what it sounds like. Actually, let's pitch it up again, too. Let's pitch it up to like 600 cents this time. Hey, I was messing around, but that low-key hard too. Like that's the dope thing about like throwing your own loops into like a fruity slicer or like some type of sampling machine is that like no matter what you do, it usually sounds pretty good. So we're actually gonna end off the tutorial right there. Y'all can just take that information and run with it and make as many different sample chops as you want of your loops and everything like that. I wasn't really gonna make like an end product and everything. I really just wanted to give y'all the tools to do what y'all need to do. You know what I mean? So hopefully y'all can get like some information from this and take it, run with it, make your own stuff and make something cool. You know what I mean? Make your own samples. So with that being said, my name is Devin. I also go by Infinite or Pop by Infinite, and peace out.